Hey yo, this one going out to Mongoose today. A large Mongoose really paved the way. He working at Waffle House today, graduating from Florida State. He tear up PCB, nickname is the thinking man. He smokes crack, yeah, you gon' see. Plays Pokemon for fun, got a pet rat one. He love the Rams, wins on Wednesdays, he on done. Hey yo, he a champion in every way like his boy Kanye, yeah!
All right, we have our playoff bracket for the Resurgence Team Tour 2. In the left corner, we have the reigning, defending, undisputed Resurgence Team Tour champions of the world, the Shuppet Detectives. And in the right corner of the challenger, we have, I'm surprised Friedel hasn't completely cancered on this team, the Very Loud Boomers. You can guess pretty easily who I'm going to pick to win this one. The Shuppet Detectives. I think there's a pretty clear morale difference and a pretty clear skill difference here. And on the other side of the bracket, we have Cooking with the Boys. And you can probably tell both by the fact that I've already written it down above me and my enthusiasm who I think is going to win that one. And now we have our finals matchup, the Shuppet Detectives versus the Pirates. Who's going to win, the defending champs or the upstarts? Well, I'll show you right here. That was a terrible drawing.
Hi, John. I heard you needed some advice on coming out and being a furry to your family. So here's a couple tips. Just remind them that being a furry is just a hobby. It's something that people do in their spare time. We don't really think we're animals like a lot of people like to think. They're like, oh, so you're an animal. Quite the opposite. We just like dressing up as our own little characters. It's basically just cosplay. You know, a lot of furries do a lot of good things for the world. I don't know, it helped convince my family that when I was like, oh, I'm a furry, when I came out to them, I was like, well, a lot of furries are in the medical field, a lot of furries are doctors, a furry created the Moderna vaccine for COVID. So it just helps to remind them that this is simply just a hobby. It's not like an identification. I don't go, I'm a dog. No, I'm still a human under this. This is just something I like to do in my spare time. And that can help you just tell them, yeah, this is just something that I like to do in my spare time. I think it's interesting. The community is very welcoming. There's a lot of things to learn, and it's just something that you want to explore, part of your life. And it's something that makes you happy. Okay, you wanted me to help you pick a team, and we will do that. You wanted 4 teams. I know it's Cooking with the Boys. We'll have that one be Justice. Detectives will be the Tower. Fluttermane Pirates will be the Fool. And Cooking with Boomers will be the Devil. So I'll just shuffle around these 4 cards, and whichever one jumps out at me is what team you should pick. So let's give this a go. But yeah, I came out to my family as a furry back in middle school. They didn't really understand it. They still kind of don't understand it, but like, I didn't really listen to them. I was like, yeah, this makes me happy. So, you guys can either just ignore me or support me. It's just like, you got to do what makes you happy in life. And let's see. The cards are taking a while to decide. Probably because there's not too many of them. Whichever one sticks out the most. Oh, looks like the Fool. Alrighty, so it looks like it's Fluttermane Pirates for your team. And good luck coming out to your family.
Resurgence Team Tour. We have made it to playoffs. With that said, we finally have a large mongoose is back to his board. He's not going to drop the ball on that segment for y'all this week. We have a distinguished guest here with us today, an unbiased guest at that, here to deliver some analysis. Hades,
Yo, what's up?
happy to have you, brother. Another
Thank you.
one of the stalwart PDT players, another team PDT player. Thank you for being here and interested to see your analysis. With that said, we've went ahead and we've prepared brackets, overviews on what we think is going to happen here, and then later in the show we're going to go and break down every single matchup. For me, I see this pretty clearly. I think all along we've seen there's two teams in a higher tier, Shuppet Detectives looking to repeat, and then there's chippy Fluttermane Pirates led by Dontavius Murray Clay and King Rock. I think ultimately we're going to see those teams play again. I think when we get to the finals, I'm predicting a 4-4 tie. And I think ultimately when it goes to the 3-game tiebreaker, Fluttermane Pirates win with Vaz and Nintago Foxo picking up wins and winning 2-1. I've got Gil taking a win for Shuppet Detectives. So yeah, that's how I see it going. With that said, though, I'm going to pass it over to Hades for his bracket picks.
I have a very similar early view with Shuppets likely dominating Boomers. I'm thinking like a 6. There's 8 games a week, right?
Yeah, 8.
Yeah, 6-2 or 5-3, likely. Fluttermane Pirates versus Cooking with the Boys. I could see this going either way personally, but it's also mostly because I know most of the cooks, whereas the Pirates, I know a handful of them. But they've been performing better, I will admit. But I can definitely see a world both win, and the world I want to happen is the one where Cooking wins. So that's who I'm going to personally be voting for. With that said, I don't think they really stand a chance in finals. I think no matter who goes to finals, I think Shuppets is winning. I think it will be a close game, no matter what. But I definitely think Shuppets has the power to pull in their second back-to-back Team Tour win for PDT.
There you go.
All right. Thank you, special guest Hades. So, on to my portion here. Look, all I'm going to say is this. FMP wins. I got my own team up here, made it to the playoffs. You know, you look at all 4 of these teams, I think there might be an odd one out here. Look, I'm not gonna say whether or not I'm not gonna make any predictions on that. Somehow, in the end, FMP is gonna win, whether that happens because my team makes it and loses, or they beat the Shuppet Detectives. Who's to say? But that's what I think. And then, I don't know. I think there's a shot with my team. It might be like the 1 in 1 million Doctor Strange ass possibility, but I think we can do it. That being said, though, I don't think I've ever seen a single team make it in the playoffs with such a negative trajectory. Like we got in by the skin of our teeth off a differential. We had to like count pennies in the final hours just to see who was going to make it in, who had the best differential at the end, and somehow we got there. Like we lost the final week. We lost right before that or tie. Just the final stretch of the season has just been nothing but losses and ties. So like there's never been any more downward momentum and trajectory. But hey, Shuppet Detectives, if we can catch them with their pants down, you never know, all right? Anything can happen. So we'll see, all right? Let's get into the matchup predictions next. where hopefully we see a special Psy Guy appearance. We will see.
Surely.
Hopefully he's not at the casino again.
That would be funny, though.
Hey, what's going on here? It's Rexadog here, woof woof woof, bark bark bark, etc etc. And hello, Free Day. We got to give you a bit of advice for coming out to your family as a furry. You know, you're looking in the mirror here. You're like, oh, we got Rex the dog here. I'm identifying. You know, I'm Free Day and I'm identifying with Rex the dog right here. And you know, I think you just need to keep on being you. Keep on being you. You may be looking for the puppy with the pep talk. You may be looking for me to give you a little bit of advice. But you know what, Free Day? It is inside you. You know. You've always been a furry from day one. They probably know. Once you keep being more yourself, more of yourself will be out there for them to love. But anyway, let's get ourselves ready for the Pokemon battle picks for the Pokemon draft tournaments. We can bring along obviously the number one Pokemon, Bonsly. Bonsly's here doing his thing. You know, Bonsly, Snowrunt. We know these are peak Pokemon. We don't. Maybe you're these edgelords who, you know, you like your Charizards and whatever. Anyway, Pokemon battle picks, let's go. So we've got Sarimi against Free Day. So we've got Sarimi against the furry Free Day. Let's freaking go. Next we've got Geel versus Rathmon. So I don't know, we got a Digimon sneaking into the tournament here. We've got The Rage, no spaces, The Rage, capital T, capital R, The Rage versus Waifiki? We fight? Waifiki? We got Garf. We got Garfield. We got Garf versus Daisy. We got Necro Wolves. That one's pretty badass now. Like Necro Wolves. You know, it's like Demon Dog. We got Necro Wolves versus Nashoba. We've got Zeb Strike 'em Down. Pretty clever now. Zeb Strike 'em Down versus Katank. We've got SABC versus Charlie Zard. And then we've got Knightmare. We've got Nightmare versus Fritel for Wii U. Where's my Wii U? That's all the way over there. Anyway, yeah, let's freaking go Wii U. Anyway, enjoy the Pokemon Draft Tournament. Free Day. Enjoy being a furry. Woof woof woof. Bark bark bark. Etc.
First matchup of semis is going to be the reigning defending champions, the Shuppet Detectives, the 1 seed, against the very loud Friedels, or some people used to say John Friday and the 12 Plumbers. They are the 4 seed. Let's get into the matchups. First up, we've got Sarimi versus John Friday. All in all, I've got this one going to Free Day. I feel like, you know, barring the Raikou escaping here somehow, I think that Free Day's got the speed figures. I think he has the pressure. I think he's going to be able to take this game here. Probably like a 2-0. Next up, I've got Gil, who's on a tear in DPP this season, versus Rathmon, who I believe has only 2 wins. I want to say he's 2-5, but he's still playing everybody close. Rathmon does have a decent team here, but ultimately I think that this Infernape squad is going to be a little bit too much to handle. Rathmon has that Caesar, but it's not going to be able to me, it's not going to be able to break out. It matches up nicely into the Celebi, but with the current gen mechanics for Steel here, I think that the Bronzong is going to be a really nice anchor. I think that Gil can actually run some shenanigans here. Potentially, Heatproof would be fucking sick tech if that can pop off. But all in all, I think that Gil's been using this team. I think he takes it over a struggling Rathmon and ties up the series at a 1-1. Beyond that, we get into black and white. The Rage versus Waifiki. We still have no clear pronunciation on that. Uh, I think ultimately, folks, I go with the Rage here. I think that I do like that black and white team. I don't know though. I feel like the Rage is going to be able to find an angle here and be able to take this one. This season, Wi-Fi has struggled a little bit, and I think that Rage is starting to narrow down the portfolio of leagues that he has going on. I think he's going to be able to allot, some time into this and player diff this matchup. This ORAS game, I think it's pretty clear to see who I have. We've got Garf versus Daisy. I'll be honest, folks, I don't think that Daisy should have slotted here. On the bench for Very Loud Boomers, they have a disciple of mine who's a great player of his own accord. He's an up-and-coming ORAS player, Professor Val, and he recently made it to top 32 in ORAS Cup, and he's just wasting away on the bench. Granted, he did go, I believe, 0-2 this season, but to me, that still gives him a better fighting chance than trotting out a 1-5 player against this Garf build, which Garf has been slamming this Mega Gardevoir team all season. Ultimately, I don't think that Daisy's going to be able to contain it. I mean, that Kyurem Black, good God. The only hope that Daisy has is if he runs the John Friede power-up punch, ice punch, Mega Kangaskhan, and he just gets like the worst hacks that you've ever seen. I think that's really Daisy's out. But I just can't see it happen. I think Garf takes this, and he puts his team up with an early 3-1. Next, we go to USUM Game 1. We've got Nashoba, teammate of John Friede, number one critic of his USUM tiers, some would say for good reason, versus Captain Necrowolves. Ultimately, I think Nashoba is going to be able to get in the win column here. I think he's going to make it a 3-2 series. I like the depth that Nash's team has. I think Chandelure might be able to pop off. I know that's like a little bit of a hot take. The Primarina isn't really the Primarina of later gens. I think that Nash is comfortable with the Shaman, obviously. And to me, like, I feel like if you put Z on the Zygarde here, it's not going to have the speed. I don't know. I can't really see a clear angle for Necrowolves. So I've got 3-2 series. Next, Zeb strike him down versus the K-Tank. I've got Captain Zeb guaranteeing at least a tie. The game after this, we go into the flex slots. I got to start to get off the X. I'm already at 6 minutes. We've got SEBC versus Charizard. Newsflash, this game already happened. Apparently, Friedel was screaming in the team server, all caps I heard, after this. And the reason for that was because SEBC won. I think it was like 3-0. So that would put me at 5-2. Then we go into Nightmare versus Friedel for Wii U. And I'm going to be honest, folks. I really actually like this matchup for Nightmare. I think it's not ideal of a matchup for this Mega Mawile. I think that this team's going to be able to contain Mega Mawile. And I've got Nightmare closing the door on this series 6-2. And with that said, I'll pass it over to Hades for his picks.
Okay. Let's jump all the way back to the start of Advance, where it's Surumi versus Friede. I also believe Friede is going to win. team looks quite well into them, as you have said. I doubt anything other than top six is it's probably just top six versus top six. Swap one out for Entei. But I think Friday just has the edge between Metagross, Arrow, and Spikes. Seem nice here. Going into Gil versus Rafmon. I think it will be close, but I do think Gil is going to have it. Although Raf is known for occasionally hacking out games children, so that's not impossible. But Infernape is just pretty good here. It struggles versus Arcanine, but you can get rocks up quite easily here. Just throw them up with Ronzong, and their offense isn't, or Raf's offense isn't too scary here. After that, it's now 1-1 for me, and I think Rage is going to, in the politest term, skill diff with Icky, with White Ike, however you say that.
Still
I
don't
think
know
the
how to say
teams,
it.
I think the teams are kind of slightly in Wi-Fi's favor, but I think Rage is just a much better, more respected player to me personally. I've seen him play his absolute mind out before, and I definitely do still really like his team and think he will pull out a win here, bringing it 2-1 after that. Into Oraz, I kind of agree that I do not think Daisy should have slotted here. If Daisy was going to slot, I feel like it should definitely have been like DPP or Advanced, but they already have better players there. Not necessarily better, but like better performing. So I don't know. I think he probably should have sat out this week, but overall, I do think Garf has been absolutely ripping it, apparently, from what I've been told. And that team just seems a lot better. Like, Gardevoir absolutely nukes it. Kieran Black is insane here. I just think realistically this is going to be a Garf bringing it up to 3-1. After that, Necrowolves versus Nash. I agree with Lou here that I think Nash is actually going to win. Although it may be personal bias that I don't really fuck with Kartana, and here it's kind of really walled by Mega Scizor and checked by Chandelure if they try going anything other than Scarf. Zygarde is like okay, but Shaman's there. I just feel like Nash has a lot of Pokemon that check his very well, albeit he does have Nidoking for Coco, which isn't like a hard counter, but definitely annoying. So I think Nash will pull through there, though, bringing it to 3-2. Zeb versus the K-Tank. Teams look very similar. I think, not very similar, but roughly similar. I think Zeb will probably win. I think Zeb is just a great player with a good team here. I don't really see K-Tank being able to pull this out here. Maybe some cooked Steelostet can pull something, but I don't really think that's going to be happening. So that will be 4-2. After that, advance S versus Charizard. I was very iffy between these. Then I heard the game already happened. So I guess I'm just gonna go with the team that already won S here. But I was definitely back and forth between that. But that brings it up to 5-2, 3. No, I'm bad at math, guys. 5-2. And then finally, I do think Friedel wins this, honestly. I do think that he's going to end it 5-3. I believe Torn has a pretty good matchup here if they can deal with Nihilego, which it has its ways of doing, including Iron Tail is a very popular one. Crocodile is like solid here for Thundy, probably runs U-turn into it, but Rotom Heat also checks Thundy relatively well. Maybe like a Toxic set. Boots, just Pain Split, annoying. Nihilego's definitely scary here, but they do have Scizor in the back there to just always keep it in check and revenge it. I think that about does it for me. So I do think that the detectives are winning 5-3, but I think it'll be a little bit closer than Lou said. With that, it's over to Mongoose.
And here's the thing, boys. I've got brain waves coming in, frequencies from all directions. Friedel for Wii U is taking over for these picks. And you can guess the 2 players that he thinks are worth a damn on this team. And it happens to be the 2 I'm going to pick to win. So we have Surimi versus Friday in ADV. And I don't know what you guys are seeing here, really, with the matchup, because Raikou eats this shit alive, which I'm sure Friday sees, because Thunderbolt and HP Ice together are completely perfect coverage, unless he brings Electabuzz, and God help him if he's bringing Electabuzz. But due to the ghost in my head taking the reins, I do have to pick Friday to win this game. And then in DPP, we have Gil versus Raph. I like this Bronzong team. I pick the Bronzong to win every week. It just so happens that half the time there's Bronzong on both sides. It's Infernape Bronzong. That's the new wave. So we pick Gil to win that one. It's 1-1. We move over to the Rage versus Wi-Fi. And everybody's talking about, oh, you know, it's the player differential. That's what's going to take over this not so great matchup for the Rage. But there's something a lot more important in competitive Pokemon than being good at the game. And that's being very lucky at the game. He's going to rob him blind is what's going to happen. 2-1 Shuppet Detective. In ORAS, we have Garth versus Daisy. Daisy is 1-5. I know the record because he was 1-4 last week before I played him and put him out to pasture, I thought. But instead, they just scooted him over 3 slots. When you look at Mega Guard here, you've got Rotom Heat and Excadrill kind of deal with it a little bit, not really. If you're preying on Roselia to deal with it, it's already over. When you look at an ORAS matchup and one team has Mega Guard, you lean toward it. And then, of course, I've got the ghosts in my brain taking over and picking, so I'm picking Garth to win. And that's a 3-1 lead for the Shuppets. Can they come back? Zeb strike them down versus the K-Tank is not the next matchup. Necro Wolves versus Nash and Yusum. I hate Yusum. We're picking Necro Wolves. Zeb strike them down versus the K-Tank and Sword and Shield. This, I think, Zeb strike them down has the better matchup. The Celesteela is kind of an issue, but not really, so long as the Rotom Wash is alive. It can very freely Volt Switch all game. Garchomp doesn't want to come in and get Wisps, take a Hydro Pump. I've got Zeb winning that one, and that's a 5-1 lead. Everybody already knows what happened in this flexed ADV game. Charizard lost. I don't know where they got that nice custom avatar from. It clearly wasn't from playing good in tours or anything. I've been picking them this whole tournament because I thought, well, they got that sweet custom. They must be worth a damn. They're not. ACBC won that one at 6-1, but luckily, to hit a big 3 to cut the lead to 32 in the final seconds, Chris Paul / Friedel for Wii U takes it in Yusum 2. The crowd goes wild as the Shuppets defeat the Boomers 6-2. John Friday, you're up.
All right, listen up. Shuppets. Everybody thinks Shuppets gonna win 8-0, 7-1, 6-2, whatever you want to call it. Look, anything happen in this game, you're gonna get. If you don't want to get taken out by the plumbers, you're gonna have to at least try. We're gonna make you guys fight for it. That's all I can say. I mean, first up, my game ADV 1, I'm gonna win. That's a lock. You just need to win 3 more. Take it to a tiebreak. Like, how hard could that possibly be? I think, honestly, if we can make it to a tiebreak, that absolutely levels the playing field between both of our teams, because like when we can run our 3 best players, I mean, maybe we only have 2, but like we can count on me and Friedel to win, right? And then we don't have the bench warmers to hold us down. No offense, but like it's just there's no consistency. Whether we can just tie it up, get that tie break, clutch it up, I think the dream can happen.
Does
mean,
your
look,
dream does your dream include going to the jail, unlocking the cells of Don Platinum and Mavs fan Razor to save the season?
I think if now's their chance to prove themselves. I think if what you're trying to say is if we're slotting them in tiebreakers, hell no. You're not even sliding them for a single game in the regular season. But still, I mean, what do we got? Gil
Not a single
Rathmon?
game.
No, I
Tell him
mean,
what happened.
Oh no.
no, it's just a repressed memory at this point. We had to
Yeah,
sub
okay.
in Mavs or something,
So no,
and
they all right. So Don Platinum got a game, and then that big it was the first blizzard that hit the East Coast. Yeah, so they were off the grid, presumably due to that snowfall, and they had to sub in Surely You Jest, and then Surely You Jest won it. I'm pretty sure.
oh yeah, yeah. So it was like the best outcome that slotting Don Platinum could possibly have was him not showing up and somebody else picking up the controller.
And it won the week.
Back when we could win weeks. But anyway, I don't know, man. Okay, so let me drop some little secret insight into this beyond what was already said, and then we can move on. But look, the Rage versus Waifiki. Listen up, guys. What? I don't know if you guys are aware. This is like the third, fourth time I've seen them play. But what do you think the record is here? Waifiki has won more times than not. I don't know what happens, but the Rage just goes into the ring with Waifiki's. Got their number, and the Rage just gets mind controlled into losing the game. You guys don't count out Waifiki here. And then Garfield, Daisy. I mean, Garfield is probably one of the easier matches for the season from his part. But we got the playoffs prep, right? Ultra Stone, Ultra Moon, whatever. Necker Wolves, Zeb strike him down. The captain, who cares? And S versus Charizard. Okay, so I don't know if I have the clearance to leak this, but this is just funny. So I gotta show you guys. I'm gonna do my Friedel impression here. I couldn't possibly replicate his voice, but you just have him crashing out after the game, and it's just, you have a Starmie. They don't go hard tar without pursuit. They have no reason to go tar without pursuit. Don't assume a set is bad and play right into it. Adapt to the fucking game. Realize they want to pursue you. Seeing that after our first game of the series, and Charlie Rizard did clap back. He had a pretty good reply to that. He just said, "Can you shut the fuck up?" And anyways, we can move on from this as a team and come together and get this dub somehow, or get the tie, whatever. All right, we got the dream. Keep the dream alive.
All right, we're gonna keep dreaming. They might be dreaming all the way to season 3. And with that said, next segment.
Hey there, Sauce the Wolf here, and I'm here to talk to John Friday. Hey, Friday, I heard that you want to come out as a furry to your family, and I'm just going to start off with quickly saying that furry's not that big of a deal. There's obviously some misunderstandings and some misinformation out there, but for all intents and purposes, is a social community based off of a fandom that likes anthropomorphic animals, walking, talking animals. So yeah, it's a little niche, it's a little weird, but that's about it. People are going to judge you no matter what. It's going to be by the clothes you wear, it's going to be by the haircut you got, if you wear glasses, it's going to be something like that. All furry does is if those people are going to make fun of you for that, they're just going to make fun of you for being furry, okay? So, when it comes to your family, what I like to say is the bigger of a dramatic reveal you make it, the bigger of a dramatic response you're going to get. So, nonchalant, keep it chill, and your best bet is to always explain the positive and good things that furry brings to your life. Explain why you like furry or why furry makes you happy, because they don't have to understand your hobbies or interests. They just have to know that it makes you happy and it makes you like life a little bit more. So, Free Day, that's my best advice for you when it comes to coming out as furry. Making sure that you just, let them know that it makes you happy, why it makes you happy, and that's what they should focus on the most. Even if they don't get it, don't understand it. You're not asking them to join with you. You're just asking them to understand and love you. So, that'd be my best advice to you, and good luck on your furry journey. I was asked as well to do some Pokemon battle game picks. We've got Vaz versus Southern Cavern. And I want you to know, I don't know any of these names, so I'm just guessing here. And I'm going with Vaz. Vaz sounds cool. We got Dialpo versus Psy Guy. Ooh, interesting. I'm thinking Psy Guy. Dialpo, you've got a good chance, but Psy Guy, I'm just feeling a little bit more. We got King Rock versus Caps Lock. And with how many times I smash Caps Lock, King Rock is going to smash Caps Lock. Of course, we've got Elysian Soul versus Grimmets. Grimmets is going to take out Elysian Soul by just a little bit. We've got Steering versus Ace. You'd think I'd say Ace in the hole wins, but we're going with Steering. Johnny versus DJS. Sorry, Johnny boy, he ain't going to make it. It's DJS, no doubt. And we got DM Clay versus Butterchoke. Better choke on these nuts, because, well, DM Clay, that's what you're going to be doing when you lose. And then we've got Nintage Foxo versus Huh? And, of course, that's what Nintage Foxo is going to be saying when he loses. Huh? How did that happen? So, you're going to win it. I hope that works. And again, John Friday, I hope that works for you. Best of luck to you. And, of course, like I said, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a hobby interest. It's not some major, super duper, absolutely excruciatingly life-changing thing, It's not a medical condition or something crazy, so they should be able to understand, okay? All right, hope this helps.
All right, people. Next series. Last series of the week. Fluttermane Pirates. Let's go Pirates. And Cooking with the Boys. So, this may arguably be the more closer series of the week here. So let's get into it. Starting with Vaz and Southern Cavern and ADV. We just sacked off the ADV slot and put in Cavern. This was a rematch. I did my research on this. This matchup they did play in week 2 when they first fought. It wasn't the same players. Cavern was getting cooked in black and white. He got absolutely obliterated by King Rock. We'll get to that one in a minute. But in this matchup, we just saw Calm Mind Pass from Espeon just completely rip this team to shreds. It wasn't a close game. It was a short game. And so we look at this and see how are we going to adapt to that. And I don't know if there's really anything great that Cavern can do. Something you could try, which is like completely off the wall for Houndoom, is run Roar on that guy. It's like one of your few phasers you have on the team, and that can kind of switch into Espeon. Granted, it can always run like Hidden Power Water, and that might be what I do in that situation just to ensure that you can keep the Calm Mind Pass engine going, because I do think that is Vaz's best way to break through here. But if he can put a stop to that, maybe Cavern can sneak out with this one, because he does have the spikes up against no way to remove it. So if he can kind of steady the ship, make it go to a long grindy game, he might be able to take this. He does have defensive answers for everything, like Lantern for Zapdos, maybe specially defensive Kangaskhan to help with the other special attackers as well. The Machamp for Registeel. He's got Starmie to Wall, the Milotic, and Lantern also does that too. So I think Voss does have a hard time breaking through this without the Calm Mind pass, but he can also, at the same time, I don't think he's forced to rely on that. I think Voss can force these guys like Lantern and Kangaskhan to rest and take advantage of the free turns that you get. But overall, you could see some angles for both sides here, but with the Cavern being on the sticks up against Voss, I think that kind of makes it a pretty clear Voss prediction for me. And in these kind of sort of even matchups, I do favor the aggressor in general, I think, and that is going to be Voss here in the matchup. Like I said, trying to get the match closed out before too many spikes go up. Moving on to DPP, Dialpo, and the Psy Guy. Okay, so this one, there's a lot of polarizing Pokemon here. I think the biggest one I see is the Shaman on the Psy Guy side, which I don't really see a single thing that wants to take that on. I think it's just going to be Seed Flare, and honestly just Seed Flare and Hidden Power Bug for the Celebi. That's going to be the only grass resist besides Garbage Drifblim, which, you know, you're stepping on rocks on a team that doesn't have any removal. I'd like to see some early rocks from Psy side, and that'll contain everything. With, you know, Raikou is going to be stepping on that and taking Sandship. It's not going to be as threatening as it usually is. You have Registeel to be a stopgap to that. Claydol can work too. It's obviously going to be running Signal Beam here, but you can maybe run the Bug Resist Berry. You can still take a hit at +1 if you EV correctly. I think overall Psy is looking pretty good. The Zapdos also, just you turn on the Celebi, Hidden Power Ice to Gliscor. You really only have Raikou to not instantly die to that. And Tyranitar as well, but that can get you turned on. So, like, I don't know. I don't see a whole lot that Dialpo has that blows me away. While Saga has a lot of good cards here. And I think, honestly, like, you could just run Scarf Kingdra. The Kingdra doesn't seem super good when you have the Empoleon, a lot of water resist as well. But you could just have the Scarf on that to revenge a Dragon Dance Tyranitar, outspeed the Raikou, have something ahead of that. You definitely want to be able to revenge kill the Raikou. Yeah, I think like if you lock into Outrage to kill the Raikou, who cares? Like it, you know, get the chip on Empoleon, whatever. And anyways, Psy Guy, that's mine. So 1-1. Moving on to Black and White. So this was what I was mentioning earlier, a rematch of their week 2 where King Rock was taking on Cavern, who had the Terrakion Salamence team, and it was just a stomp. This is like the funniest way to start off the week for them. It was like early in the week, and they just got smoked. But honestly, though, I think looking past that, the first outcome, I still would say Caps Lock has the better end of this matchup because Terrakion and Salamence both are just kind of unguardable on this team. You have like Miss Derivis has your fighting resist. I'm not going to count Azelf, but it just looks pretty rough for that. And then Scizor is the steal in the face of Salamence, just not very good. And defensively, Caps Lock has better options against what King Rock has. Like Scizor is never going to run away with this. He has Metagross to check the double dragons somewhat. Drapion can fling up T-Spikes, assuming that the stupid Roselia isn't going to come. I think there's a lot of things going for Caps Lock here. The one thing that King Rock has is Blastoise is pretty good at keeping off hazards, because we just got Claydol and Metagross as the rockers, which it can spin on pretty easily. Barring Frostlass, which the first week they just sent out Frostlass Suicide Lead and Blastoise spinned on turn 2 after it died. It just didn't work. So we'll see how Caps Lock adjusts. Going to be the better player than Cavern here, I'd say, at the very least. I think matchup-wise, I still want to give it to him. Whereas, Elysian Soul and Gym Leader Grimmets. I don't want to dive too deep into this one. I think these are just like two kind of mediocre drafts in my opinion. Just throw in a Florges on there to get your checkbox fairy type, Mega Venusaur, whatever. I think though the Mew is one thing I see that stands out as just being pretty hard to guard against, with just Mega Scizor as a psychic resist. And I guess Azelf too, but I think the offensive set is really dangerous. And that's pretty much nothing else too crazy. Like Grimace just has a lot of do nothing guys, and it's not so different on Elysian Soul side. Maybe the Scizor can go crazy because there's not a whole lot that can withstand that defensively. So, but could be relatively even. But I like the Mew. Give it to Grimace. Or 3-1 to Cooking with the Boys. Ooh, Fluttermane Pirates, who I predicted to win. How did they turn this around? Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Steering, an ace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, thank God. Another Tap Goku Zero Aura matchup. Thank God. This is what everybody wanted to see.
Every week.
Oh, one thing, God bless, in the Boomers versus Chubbits, we didn't have a single one of those, and we had 2 Usum games. Thank God. But we gotta stomach it once again here. And I don't know, I'm thinking the Tapu Koko side just looks way better. The secret threat also, the Terrakion. What do we have as the rock resist like Mega Mawile? That's kind of bad. And Mega Venusaur can kind of work as a check to Zero Aura. You got to watch out for Z flying, acrobatics as well. I don't know. I hate the Zero Aura Tapu Koko slop. I've had to talk about this like 20 times. I don't care. All right, I think the Tapu Koko looks a little bit better. So steering has my predict. Sword and Shield, Johnny and DJS. Obviously, just going off of player skill, you would just lock in DJS and call it a day. But I think matchup wise, it tells a different story because Zero Aura is just so unstoppable here. It hits half the team super effective with close combat. The rest dies to Plasma Fist, outspeeds everything. I just don't really see a way you can get around that. And even the Starmie as well, randomly good here offensively, and just kind of kill everything like a Life Orb set. Just hit everything super effectively. I don't know, man. You have Zapdos to wall the Rillaboom, whatever. I don't think you even really need that. I don't know. I don't think DJS has this one, guys. Johnny and the Real. Giving it to him. From now up to 3-3, down to the flex slots to decide how this series plays out. It's ADV with Daniel, Clay 44, and Butterchoke. And this was, I think, the last rematch that we have in this series. Again, with different players, I'm pretty sure. But this was another game where the Calm Mind Psychic type just ran away with it. We had Alakazam just sweep them. And I don't really know what Butterchoke can do to avoid that from happening again. Just outspeeds the whole team. Nothing can really take it on. Porygon 2 can, at best, paralyze it and then hope that the rest of the team can do something. And even then, you can just switch the Zam out, heal Bell up, and have it try again later. So, I don't know. Just based off that alone, you can look at how the first matchup played out. I don't think that there's any adjustments you can really even make. Clay, also, player skill-wise, Butterchoke ain't cutting it these days, all right? Now, last but not least, Tago 7-0, Tago, the beast, up against Max, who was just a razor's edge off of being a 7-0 player himself. So this is going to be a pretty hype game. Still can't believe Max lost to Brett, by the way. But I think this is his chance to get redemption. This matchup is weird to me. I don't see how this one's gonna play out, to be honest. I do see a Cresselia that is just extremely hard to kill. I would expect some U-turn spam coming from Max's side, but I don't really know what you have to capitalize on that. What do you switch in after you U-turn the crest, like Bronzong? I don't know. But Max does have the hazard advantage into no spinner, but again, Rotom Appliance is going to be the king of spin blockers. If he wants to use that to wall the Blastoise, he can. But I also see that just like Shadow Ball, unresisted, besides Garbage Ursaring, like I think offensively, you could really run away with this with the Rotom. So just based off of that, I'm feeling Taco in this one. Like Infernape is pretty hard to stop with hazards. Like Suicune is going to die pretty quickly, and you have good answers for that as well. Like Roserade, you can engineer a set that can beat that surely. So fairly even. I still lean the Taco, going for the 8-0. So overall, 5-3. Florida Pirates take it in the end. The overdogs prevail. Oh, I've been yapping for so damn long. I don't even know who's supposed to go after me. Lou?
Yeah, I'm going next. So that was inspiring there, Frida. You know, Frida, you've been talking about these timestamps across the season. You clocked in at about 13 and a half minutes.
No way, guys. I hope you're watching this on 2x speed. Holy shit. Well,
Go ahead and hold your thumb on the right side of your phone when John Friday's talking. Go ahead and get rid of that garbage.
Yeah, I haven't seen you talk that much since you were talking about tax fraud week 1.
like I had to lock in for these playoffs hyper analysis, but take it away.
All right, so game 1, ADV, Vaz versus Southern Cavern. We dogged on Cavern. I'm not here to save Cavern. What I am here to add is, holy crap, a mixed Sceptile really looks like a nice shiny knife to dial through this Southern Cavern team once you deal with the Fortress. I just feel like Vaz has a way to position this matchup. I think he goes top 6. I think he's able to navigate this matchup, and I think he's able to win it convincingly with what he has. I think that Cavern really has to play kind of out of mold and swing for the fences and hope that you get some lucky RNG to pull this one out. Game 2, with Fluttermean Pirates up to the early 1-0 lead. We've got Latina Enjoyer, Psy Guy, and Dial Poe. I don't know. This is another wifey situation here. I think we might need a large mongoose to really give us the
At least it's not a damn. It'll never be as bad as that, buddy.
He needs to see through the tea leaves to find out, is it Dial Poe? Are they Filipino? Are they a Filipino Poe? Or Dial Poe? I don't know. Regardless, I've got, as Friedel would say, the Psy Guy is going to beat that ass. And I think that the Kingdra really, once you deal with the Empoleon, I think that the Kingdra is going to be critical here. In that long-winded 13 and a half minutes, Friday brought up the Shaman. You don't have to convince me. I love a Shaman Zapdos team. And I think that the Psy Guy, also having this Tauros, I think the Tauros coming is critical because the Raikou is going to want to find a way to force progress. But there's a lot of stuff that causes it to build super wonky here on the Psy Guys team. You have a Registeel. I don't see the Aura, like the Rash Aura Sphere coming. Likewise, he has a Claydol. He's got a Shaman. So like there's a lot that's sitting against this Raikou and also this Tyranitar that I feel like is able to contain it. And I mean, Hades is going to say it as well. Like, as long as the Psy Guy just doesn't fumble the bag here, which he's known to do. Like, he's the guy that's going to drive the wrong way in Mario Kart. But if he doesn't do that, I think the matchup solves itself. I think he has it. So he somehow ties up the series 1-1. moving into black and white. I've been a pretty big King of the North, King Rock supporter all season. However, a player coming on that I'm starting to keep track of is Caps Lock. I think that the matchup's close, but I think that somehow Caps Lock is able to pick up the win, and surprisingly, Cookie and the boys find themselves up 2-1. Next up, we've got ORAS. We got Elysian Soul versus Gym Leader Grimetz. I agree with the team breakdowns. I also, like John Friede, have Gym Leader Grimetz picking up the win here. And he's going to put Cooking with the Boys up 3-1. If you want a further analysis, I agree with Friede. I think that Mew is the difference there. Alright, so somehow I had Fluttermane Pirates winning it all, and they're in a 3-1 hole here. Am I just like jumping the gun with my brackets, or are they able to pull something out? Let's find out. Let's get into the second half of this. You got Steering versus Ace. Now, once upon a time, Hades, you and I were in that AAA server that Steering used to run, and they killed that man like Julius Caesar, which was really sad to see. They did that man so dirty. Weedy, you feel free to inject. You were the one that hit him with the Brutus. But and then likewise, my friend Fried Chicken. Every doc that I gave him access to, he would always write "Steering smells" somewhere on the doc. I used to always find that pretty funny. But actually, getting into the analysis here, Friede hit it. So you have a Tapu Koko Zeraora matchup for like the 12th time this season. Which, yeah, it's I'm tired of fucking seeing this. One thing that Friede didn't get to in his phenomenal coverage, I think Steering brings an offensive cloister that shell smashes him to a dub. So I have Steering making this 3-2. Moving over to Sword and Shield, you got Prince, Johnny, and the Real, the next in line for King Rock's throne, versus Sen, DJS. All in all, though, I think everybody's gonna kind of slam DJS here. I think I kind of like him decisively here. And that kind of puts Fluttermane Pirates in an awkward spot because they are now down 4-2. Yeah, and they're, even if they do, they're looking at a tiebreak scenario. So let's see if they can run the gauntlet. Debo, Monte, Clay, 44, also known as like Damien the Menace or Damien the Maniac on Smogon, versus Butterchoke. And I'll be honest, folks, I think Butterchoke is kind of washed up right now. I think he's been watching too much Daisy and Brett footage recently, and I think he's following in their footsteps. I think he's going the wrong way. And then when I go into it, he's facing a Snorlax team, and his fighting is Hitmonlee. Yeah, to me, this is just rough, folks. Like, everything on Butterchoke's team, it really wants to do a lot here. I think the Alakazam kind of goes crazy. I don't know. I don't see how Butterchoke's going to win it. And he's that kind of guy where once his confidence is impacted, just like click next game. Like, I can already tell he's looking at this right now. He's saying some mumbo jumbo in that team server, and he's already beat himself. So Don Quill, Monte, Clay makes this 4-3. And then we go into the heavyweight finale. Nintago Foxo versus Max. Two phenomenal players in the DPP landscape. So this is truly a treat to see them playing with huge stakes on the line. I've got ultimately. I wanted to give this to Max, and I didn't switch because I thought that um, it would go against my narrative. Surely not. No, I switched it because when I looked into it, I think the presence of Doug Trio really forces a wonky Infernape set to come. And then the other Mon that I really liked on Nintago Foxo's side was the Cresselia. So, for example, if this Infernape happens to go, let's say, Choice Scarf to run away from Doug Trio, now it loses a lot of the stopping power that it's going to want for Cresselia. And it's not just the Cresselia. You have the Suicune as well. I've run Suicune Cresselia before. They do have a lot of synergy. Um, Max, if you're listening to this, another player that has run those exact two Mons is one of your teammates, old Butterchoke over there. As long as that man is not traumatized and hitting up the server with the mumbo jumbo, he might be able to tell you a little bit of analysis and how to force some progress there. But I don't know, man. I think Max is really going to have to get in his bag. He's going to have to pull some wonky sets. He's going to have to be moving items. He's going to have to be clicking the boom button. There's just, you can't play this Nintago Foxo team, very orthodox. Another angle he's got a Roserade, and he's going to be able to try and spike stack, and he's got fucking Rotom Appliance, so he's got the premier spin blocker as well. I've got Nintago Foxo taking this one. He moves it to a 4-4 tie. What happens here, folks? We get a 3-game playoff. So let's get into it. The first game, I've got Nintago Foxo versus Max in DPP again. This time I have Max taking it and putting Cooking with the Boys up 1-0 in the 3-game tiebreaker. Second game, I've got Vaz in ADV scheduled to play Mumbo Jumbo Butterchoke. And you can bet your ass Vaz is taking that game. And he's tying it up. In sudden death, I've got the Fluttermane Pirates in this matchup. They're going to pick ADV twice. And Cooking with the Boys for their one game, they're going to pick DPP at the request of Max. So in the second ADV game, you're going to get a captain showdown. You're going to get DM Clay versus DJS. And in the battle of acronyms, drum roll, you have DM Clay punching the Fluttermane Pirates into the finals. And King Rock, the mastermind behind it all, gets that Jon Snow King in the North treatment as his team heads north to the finals. And with that said, I believe Hades of Ender, take us home.
Okay. I will go all the way back once again to Advance 1, where Vaz, realistically, I think he's gonna absolutely destroy Cavern. I think the matchup is heavily in Vaz's favor, and the experience is even much more heavily in his favor. With that said, I've seen Cavern pull out some crazy things, so I'm not like 100-0 on this, but I'd say it's solid like 95% in Vaz's favor there, leaving them at a start of 1-0. Just Zapdos absolutely dominates. It slightly struggles with Lantern or Mence and like what it wants to hit, but then that means they have to bring them over Houndoom, and Houndoom very nice for Espeon and Register. They just need so much, and my personal knowledge being in their team server, I know Cavern isn't quite confident in this type of team either, which just makes me all the more reason to want to push for Vaz win. Going into DPP, one, I flipped back and forth on this quite a lot. I was like, well, Tar can't do too much. It struggles into Yama. It struggles to play. No, it doesn't struggle into play out, but it struggles into certain Registeals. It struggles into Scarf Kingdras or something. Raikou, oh my god, there's so many checks here. But then you go to the other side and I see Zapdos. Zap struggles into their top two. And then I see Shay and Kingdra. Kingdra isn't amazing, but I feel like it checks a lot of what checks the rest of Sai's team. And then Shaman goes absolutely ham here with no real check. That plus I think they just get rocks up early. Rocks chipping away at everything slowly. I think Sai, as long as he doesn't throw, should be taking this win home, evening it out to 1-1. After that, in black and white, you see Garchomp Blastoise versus Tracheon Vents, and you see Scizor here, who has a lot on his plate with Bullet Punch to check Terrakion. He needs to check Mence. Realistically, though, I think they're going to try using Stoys to check Mence and a Scarf Garchomp kind of angle. And I do think King Rock is going to pull it out, bringing it to 2-1. I don't think Caps is necessarily impossible to win, though. I see his outs. I see Terrakion look crazy good here. I see Salamence looks very good here. I see that Garchomp, and I'm like, I feel like you just chip down Metagross slightly, and now Scarf Outrage is so clean and free. As long as Drapion's not still around, or sorry, Frostlass isn't still around to Ice Shard it. But even then, you have another dragon in the back as well, which looks quite good here, and you can use that early to try and break down some of these other Garchomp checks. Going into Oraz, I think this is quite in the favor of the Mew Weavile team. We might even see a possible SD Natural Gift Weavile to pop that Mega Scizor. I don't remember the exact calcs for how much Weavile needs to live a Bullet Punch, or 10. Or I know it can if it's defensive, but I've definitely been nuked by that before, and I'm pretty sure Legion is a relatively new player as well. So I could see something unexpected come out of there. I'm not going to talk too much on Mew. I think the others got that very well. Mew looks absolutely insane here. Might damn near win on its own. But that brings us to 2-2. Very even so far. Going into Steering versus Ace. I haven't been paying too close attention, so I don't quite have the same problem with Coco Zera as all. But I look at this Mile game. Mile weirdly looks kind of mid as hell here. It doesn't seem very good. I feel like Coco kind of just volt switches around relatively free. I guess Zero try coming, but like just if you ever come in on the wrong, then you're losing one of your best mons in the matchup, who already struggles with Landorus plus Venusaur. Like they could be bringing Landorus, although not a fan of Scarf Landorus. It's definitely like not horrible here. I do think Steering pulls this one out, bringing them up 5. Nope, I'm skipping ahead a bit. Pulling them up 3-2. Going into Sword and Shield, I believe in DJS a lot. With that said, I think this matchup is absolutely abysmal. I think Johnny has great checks to damn near everything. Like Cortana struggles to break past his like defensive core there. Zapdos can't really touch Zero. You can like Toxic it, I guess. What you do if he like sub bulk up though. Sub bulk up. Now Zero's just looking absolutely insane. Like you have Zapdos for Rillaboom, but also then you just click U-turn with Boom, really. Zam is not great. I could see Zam putting in work, but it gets revenged by Rilla. It struggles with Heatran and Mandibuzz. They probably just don't bring it. And Urshifu, they could just do like I see like Helmet Rilla. Urshifu comes in, ouch, ouch, ouch. And it probably has to be Scarf here as well, which Mandibuzz, G-Weezing, it's just so fat. I think realistically, unless DJS absolutely cooks, which I have seen him do before, I think this should be a Johnny win, bringing it back up to a tie. Next into advance, originally I was leaning Butterchoke, but the more and more I heard these two talk, and more I looked at the matchup, the more I went, yeah, you don't really break through that, or while also walling it. Like Dragonite looks good, but their best checks also will get used up for lax or like they just have things that break down their similar checks. Zam I could see winning for sure. I do think Porygon is a decent enough check. I believe it still gets Shadow Ball. So it can like come in, be max SPDF and force it out. But overall, I still think DM Clay is going to be winning this one back up to 4-3. Going into the final matchup, which is probably the most exciting match tour or playoffs here. Nintago versus or Max. I think this is another very close one. I've gone back and forth between them. I could see either of them winning very easily, but with some sneaky insider knowledge, I've seen some sets that has been mentioning, and I believe that he can pull it out with some of what he's cooked, but that doesn't mean it'll be easy, and it will definitely be very close. Which brings that back to a tie, where similar to Lou, I have written here, I think Fluttermane is going to double up in advance as Cooking with the Boys goes DPP. I didn't think too hard on exactly who's going to come, but I do think coming out into advance, I think they're going to get Noble back, probably, who is like a great advanced player. If he isn't free enough to come back, I probably flip it to a Fluttermane win. If he comes back, I think to pull out that second game and let the Cooking with the Boys win and move on to finals. That's my rough predictions there, though. Moving on, next is a large mongoose.
I was sitting there
Mongoose.
yapping for a second. I was muted. Now listen,
Yeah.
here's the deal. We got the ADV matchup, Vols and Southern Cavern. Now I'm going to pick Vols to win this one because duh. But I'm going to put old Southern Cavern on to a little game here. Listen, you're staring down a do-nothing, eat your ass alive over the course of 70 turns team. 40 is your best asset. The basketball, foragers. You get 3 spikes up, you double it in every now and then, get the spike, retreat. And then at some point you blow the hell up. And then pray to God that Mixed Mints can pull it off. Or Stormy. You know, bring a little thunder wave on Lantern and Stormy. Bring a little something good to move things around. I'm giving you game here, buddy. I'm giving you $1 million game. Sometimes I wish I had an OG like me to help me out in life. Didn't have to go through trial and error. And then you're going to go to Walmart or Kroger or the Dollar Tree or whatever, get Maruchan ramen. And you're going to take about 4 packs of that, and you're going to put that on the stove, cook it up, eat it. You're going to be plumb full of sodium. You're going to be locked the hell in. And that's how you win this game. I'm not picking you to win this game. That's how you're going to do it. Vols. And with that, we got the Pirates up 1-0. In DPP, we got Dialpo versus the Psy Guy. Now, I like the Psy Guy here. I like the Kingdra. Nobody brought up the Kingdra. I think it's pretty damn good into the matchup. You get rid of Celebi and Empoleon and Quillfish and everything that beats it. Get rid of the sand that's going to stop you from rain dance sweeping. That can happen. People say, oh, there's all this stuff that's going to stop such and such from sweeping and taking over. Just play the game. It's going to naturally be gone. You build your game plan around it, and you win. I got the Psy Guy winning from the Hard Rock Seminole Casino in Orlando, Florida. Be playing on his phone at the Baccarat table. In black and white, King Rock versus Caps Lock.
I love Tarakian into this matchup. Jesus Christ, that's the sexiest Tarakian matchup I've ever seen. And because of that, I have pretty much nothing else to say. Caps Lock wins. And we've got ORAS. We've got Elysian Soul versus Grimetz. Gym Leader Grimetz. You've got the Mew here. Here's what you do with Mew. You got Expert Belt. You speed creep it a little bit. It doesn't have to be that fast. You can put a whole lot of HP. Modest. Bring Ice Beam. Energy Ball. Flamethrower. Sludge Bomb. It's everything on the team. It doesn't have to win the game, but it will absolutely blow a hole in it for Mega Venusaur and Weavile and Thundy Eye to take over. I've got Grimetz pulling this one out. And Yusum, you got Steering versus Ace. I hate Yusum. Steering was my captain in an almost any ability league before apparently he got Etu Brutade. I got Steering winning. In Sword and Shield, we got Johnny in the Real versus DJS. What do we have here? We got Rillaboom in the Kartana, Zapdos, Klefki. That's looking rough. But the Kyurem does look pretty good. I'll give it that. Zeraora looks like shit. Crocodile looks pretty. Yeah, it's okay. The Rillaboom. Mandibuzz. This is a tough matchup, actually. This is a very close one. I'm going to lean to DJS because I think he's a better player. And then, our flex spots, we've got ADV, Dean Martin Clay. You're going to be crooning us some good songs from the oldies versus Butterchoke. Now, here's the inside scoop. Butterchoke is playing me in the illustrious, prestigious Cucumber Cup quarterfinals on Sunday. That's where his mind's at. It's not into this matchup. He's after old John Mongoose to take down the most important tournament of the year, the Cucumber Cup. So we pick our man DJ Clay. And in the last matchup, we have Max. In DPP. Had a very good season. We're picking him. And that brings us to a 4-4 tie, and we're going to the tiebreakers. And if it was me, as the Pirates, I'm slotting ADV twice and ORAS once in a tiebreaker. It's hard to make the picks because I don't know who the hell would be playing. That's what I'd do. And we can fade off into black, fellas.
Goose, they Fluttermane Pirates being the higher seed, they're able to pick two, and then Cookie.
Yeah, like I said, you pick ADV twice. Well, I guess. Oh yeah, okay. The other team would pick one.
Yeah.
If I was
you guys
cooking
didn't
with
pick
boys,
up on the Hades inside scoop where Noble's coming back, so ADV isn't necessarily free for them to pick.
But with that
it
said,
is.
you still
It is
think
free because no bull's coming back. But black and white is the one I would pick for cooking with the boys then, because I think that Terrakian mints, that Terrakian team reminds me a lot of the greatest Resurgence team to ever be seen on the field. It only lost because Air Chomp is fucking shit. The week that I went to play Gen 7, Gen 8, there the fuck I was playing, he got to play some guy and decided he was going to click U-turn with Hydreigon 10 times instead of, Dark Pulse or Draco Meteor or anything that would do some damage. It reminds me a whole lot of that great team, except it has Salamence instead of the Goat Hydreigon on it. So I think
might
that's
be even more Mickey Mouse than black and white.
Listen, you want to talk about Mickey Mouse, buddy? ADV's real Mickey Mouse. I'm learning. I saw H-Clat with fucking Arcanine, Roselia, Steelix, Articuno, Chansey go 2-1 and get out of pools. We're talking about Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, the Mickey Mouse tour you have going on here. A consensus.
Mickey Mouse $500 prize pool tour.
That's all it is. There's no real skill involved in ADV, I've learned. It's all fucking BS and vibes.
All we get for winning this is a pat on the back. So we'll see what the Mickey Mouse representatives have in store. The consensus is it's going to be a close series, though. That's exciting.
Yeah.
You guys, one thing you guys didn't mention is I think cooking with the boys is gonna the slot Sword and Shield if they go to tie breaks. They got the DJS advantage, even if their matchup sucks here. I don't know why they picked that team.
Well, DJS can move around tiers. It doesn't matter. He's put him in whatever.
So
Oh,
the reason why I kind of stray away from that is that we've now seen Max play ADV. Max is next level with DPP, but with the ADV players that the Pirates have, I really think that they double up there. And yeah, you want all three of your players in the tiebreak scenario to have comfort. And I just feel like the Pirates, regardless of how the dice roll, I've seen Nintago play, I've seen DM Clay, like these guys are versatile, and then regardless, like they're gonna cook up at least one ADV slot to get Vaz in. I'll be honest, I think that they dominate the tiebreaker.
yeah. The team that gets to pick both or 2 out of the 3 formats always has such an advantage. But you're right, no matter which formats end up getting rolled, they can all play in every tier, so it doesn't even matter.
I mean, we heard Vaz last week talk some more modern gens, so I still don't think we see him slot something other than ADV, but yeah, they're versatile. Likewise, I heard No Bull coming back.
I'm not 100% on that, by the way.
That's true, but regardless, I still can't see him getting slotted over DJS. I can see him getting slotted potentially over Mumbo Jumbo Butterchoke, especially if he loses this week. But he's not slotting over DJS or Max for that. And then one doomsday scenario that I worry about, guys. What if they make tiebreakers and Guy tries to slot himself?
I don't think DJS will let that happen, honestly.
DJS can just kick him out of the casino and
Because Psy's not bad, but he probably throws more than most players I know. He'll just do a very objectively bad play that loses the game. And you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
anybody have closing thoughts? Frida, I heard something.
I was gonna shit on Guy, but I've been doing that enough.
That guy never appeared, that son of a bitch.
I know.
Yeah, he left us. We're allowed to shit on him.
Yeah, he was supposed to be on this week. So
what did he say? I'm scrolling up at
nothing. Other than I might be a little late. It's been 2.5 hours.
I might be a little late. The video's over.
All right.
I hope he pops in the last fucking second.
Well, it ain't happening. That's going to be all we have for coverage. Hades, thank you for the great analysis and joining us.
No worries. It was fun.
Next time, for the audience, next week, I want people to send in content if able. You can send in, a 60 to 90 second clip on your picks. Would be greatly appreciated. The other thing that you can expect to see next week, I'm going to be going off server. I'm going to have my money bag in hand if needed, and I'm going to try and get respected players around the community to weigh in on the championship matchups as well. So stay tuned for that. And to the 4 teams still in it, best of luck.